Hello my lovely ranked warriors. Today we're uncovering many myths behind aiming. To be honest, I've coached so many players at this point and heard the most unimaginable things possible that people have tried or even heard to improve their aim. Things like playing left-handed instead of right-handed, changing sense is actually bad, that aim labs or aim trainers are required to become a good aimer, and one hidden thing I think many players tend to underestimate how much it affects their aim. So let's start debunking these myths, and as always, give you some advice to better understand your game and improve your performance. Let's do this. Mr. Coach, I want to get better, but how? Worry no more. Come join our Discord and check out the server shop where you can get an aim and movement analysis, watch parties, and an improvement server of 100 plus channels of every topic you can think of. Did I mention all the benefits? slayerkey.com/support. So what are you waiting for? Stop deranking and start improving today. First up, this is the most common myth that people have about Valorant. Changing your sensitivity is bad. It's not true. Completely untrue. You see great players change their sense all the time and still maintain strong aiming skill. Everyone's favorite Tens does this literally all the time and everyone jokes about it. But for some reason this myth still exists. So let's just bust this wide open and remember that it's like finding the perfect pair of jeans. One size doesn't fit all. So here's how you should treat your sense. It's a personal preference. Me personally, I play on 0.22 1600 DPI. When I reached Immortal for the first time, I was on 1/800. You heard me right. So tailor it to what you feel most comfortable with. If you feel like your sense is too high, lower it. If you feel like your sense is too low, raise it. The only problems that come from sensitivity are when it's like drastically out there. I have an aim course that covers this very much in detail. That's available in the Discord if you want to check it out. It goes over EDPI, the average sense, even some like specific mechanical training you can do, because this is all that players experience when they're like, oh, I need to change my sense, is their mechanics, specifically their active aim, is just garbage. Usually like their habits have diminished or they haven't practiced correctly, so they just have really bad habits that just make them take fights really inefficiently, and then they're like, oh, how am I dying here? How do these players keep beating me? And it's just how they take fights. So don't be afraid to try new things. Remember, even if you just want to go for like a super high sense for a week and then a super low sense the next week and like a nice middle ground the third week, yeah, sure. Like absolutely just go for it, just experiment, and you're going to land on something enjoyable. First up, I wanted to talk about aim labs. A lot of people treat it as the ultimate secret weapon, a tool required to become a good player, but brace yourselves, because many times it doesn't become a tool, rather a crutch. It's like a trusty sidekick, not the hero to your aim. Now, it's not to say it's bad. At the bare minimum, I always recommend aim labs once a week, just to refresh your mechanical aim or your active aim. This is the aim that happens as soon as you basically encounter a fight. When a player appears on your screen, it's that micro adjustment, it's that flick. In some situations, it's the tracking. But I mentioned active aim, there's a whole other half called passive aim. And this goes into the second point, which is to spice up your training routine. It's like a white family that only uses salt and pepper in their meals. Aim labs is just one flavor and the warm-up buffet. Try some different spices. There's a lot of stuff you can do in deathmatch. Even in the range now, people have gotten really creative. If you're curious, I would suggest this warm-up video I made before to really open your mind to the possibilities. Now, the last point, and this one's the most obvious about aim labs, is the real game application. You know, skills honed in aim labs need the real world practice, and so many players don't practice how they practice in aim labs, which makes the training basically worthless. But you're going to get better and better scores in aim labs and wonder, why am I not getting better at Valorant? And you have to remember, it's not just about training those skills, it's about applying those skills to the chaos of Valorant. This is why most training routines I give to my students mostly include in-game training. Now, something weird that I hear is aim labs is for beginners only, it's for the Valorant noobs. And although partially true, because remember we talked about active aim versus passive aim labs is mainly used for training active aim. Passive aim is like your crosshair placement, and they do have some stuff for that. But honestly, it's never going to be as good as it is in Valorant if you play a deathmatch and focus on your crosshair placement. So it's mainly used for training active aim. The only reason it's good for beginners is because they're just starting to learn mouse, or they're starting to learn more precise FPSs, like someone who went from Apex to Valorant maybe, or Overwatch to Valorant, that type of thing. But even then, new players will always use aim labs and see benefit because it just helps them with control controlling their mouse, which is something they're usually pretty unfamiliar with. And for the intermediate or even advanced players, it's just about training one specific skill they have trouble with. Let's say a player appears on your screen and you have trouble flicking to the target and then shooting instead of shooting and flicking to the target, which seems like a minor difference, but this is like, I'm not gonna lie, most of your guys' problems with aims is that you shoot way earlier than you think you should. And so aim ups is a tool, right? You could also use the range deathmatch for this, but it is a tool. You can practice those micro adjustments specifically, and ones that are very precise that force you to slow down your aim if you want to maintain accuracy. And that's something that can be really good. Last but definitely not least is my absolute favorite that so many players just lose. They just completely forget this. This mainly applies to my higher ranks, but I've seen people all the way down to like plat even struggle with this. And aim isn't just about mouse movements, you know? It's a mental chess game. There's so many parts of aim that you have to constantly think about. Valorant in general is a very mental game. So if you're thinking about that teammate right next to you, if you're thinking about this guy not flashing, if you're thinking about this specific ability, or oh shit, I'm gonna lose this fight if I go up here, anything that distracts you from like, where can I put my crosshair, or where's the next enemy, is gonna likely lead to your crosshair being in a bad spot. So precision will start in your head. And it's important to maintain a mindset that aligns with your aim. So remember, we're constantly thinking about other things and we forget that there could be a player up in this area. Our crosshair placement isn't going to check this area very thoroughly because we're not being intentional with, okay, there could be a player here. So let's make sure we peek this corner, check this corner, use a piece of ability here, you know, bait the hell out of our teammate in case he doesn't clear it, then we check it anyways because in our head, we know there could be a player here. Sometimes it's just stuff like that. Sometimes it's like, oh, this guy has a Spectre. He's probably going to run a gun. So I'm going to hold this crosshair and go wider. So I want you to try picturing these plays before they happen. And remember, a lot of this, what we're talking about, is just being more prepared for the situation before it happens. The more you can get a read into there could be someone here before you push into a site, the better you're going to train those mental gymnastics in your brain to react more purposefully and make those split-second decisions way more efficiently. And and if you don't believe me, here's the most trusted source I know, ChatGPT, saying yes. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. I wish you the best of luck in your journey. Today we've debunked some myths and I hope you leave with some fresh insights into your game. Remember, it's not about sticking to myths, it's about embracing the dynamic nature of improvement. So if you enjoyed this, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, all that jazz. Till next time, as a Slayer Key, signing off.